Transform your mindset into a fortress of resilience, overcoming doubt and fear with every challenge. Mental toughness is not a gift, it's a skill. And today, you will learn how to develop it with every thought, decision, and action you take. You will learn to build the unshakable confidence that allows you to face any obstacle, take on any task, and never back down. The path to mental toughness starts now. Don't wait. Chapter 1. Stop complaining. Start conquering. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your potential. And you're letting life slip by if you're stuck in the habit of complaining. Let me tell you something you already know but refuse to accept. Complaining changes nothing. It does nothing. It makes you feel momentarily better, sure, but it gives you nothing of lasting value. You have a choice. You can either complain about your problems or take action to solve them. The difference between the two is the difference between success and failure. It's the difference between mental toughness and weakness. You control your responses, and that's where everything begins. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need an apology. You don't need a change in circumstances. The only thing you need is a shift in mindset, a shift from victimhood to victory. And that starts with you. Let's break this down. Most people are trapped in the cycle of complaining. They complain about their jobs. They complain about their relationships. They complain about how unfair life is. They blame their environment, their upbringing, their circumstances. They say it's not their fault. But that's the lie. You are in control of your responses. You have the power to choose how you react. No one can make you feel anything unless you let them. Life is not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you. Stop blaming others. Stop blaming the economy. Stop blaming your past. Start taking ownership. Own your responses. Own your actions. Own your outcomes. The choice is yours. Action breeds confidence. Inaction breeds doubt. You see, every time you choose action over complaint, you build confidence. You build resilience. You build mental toughness. But every time you sit in your victimhood, every time you say, "It's not my fault," you are feeding doubt. You are telling yourself that you are powerless. And powerlessness is the enemy of mental toughness. Take a moment to reflect on your life. Look at the things you've complained about the most. Now, ask yourself, what would have happened if you'd stopped complaining and started doing something about it? What if, instead of justifying your failures, you took full ownership of your life? Let me remind you, you have a choice. When life hits you with obstacles, you don't have to cower. You don't have to cry foul. You don't need a perfect situation to get started. You can start right now, right where you are, with what you have. Mental toughness isn't about waiting for everything to align perfectly. It's about stepping up in the face of adversity. It's about facing the storm head-on. Victim versus victor. Here's the harsh truth. Most people are addicted to their victimhood. They cling to it like a crutch. They think it's easier to blame someone or something else for their shortcomings. But the reality is, complaining is comfortable. It's easy. It requires no effort. It requires no accountability. It requires no action. And that's why so many people do it. But here's the flip side. You can't grow in comfort. You can't build mental toughness while you're coddling your weaknesses. Do you think successful people sit around complaining about how hard life is? Do you think successful people blame the system, blame others, blame luck? No, they don't. They look at every challenge as an opportunity to grow, to conquer, to prove to themselves that they can handle whatever life throws at them. Take someone like Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. Do you think he sat around complaining about his losses? No. He used those losses as fuel. Every time he was cut from a team or faced a setback, he didn't cry about it. He worked harder. He chose to conquer. Think about Steve Jobs. He was ousted from the company he founded, forced to leave everything he built. Did he sit around feeling sorry for himself? Did he complain about the injustice? No. He went on to build Next and Pixar, eventually returning to Apple and turning it into the powerhouse it is today. Both of these men faced enormous obstacles. Both of them experience failure, pain, and rejection. But the difference between them and most people, they didn't complain. They didn't blame. They didn't wallow in defeat. They acted. You have a choice. You can sit in your corner and complain about everything that's wrong with your life, or you can rise above it and start conquering. The decision is yours. But remember, only one path leads to mental toughness, and it's the path of action. The power of action. Every moment you spend complaining is a moment you're not taking action. Action is the antidote to fear. It's the antidote to doubt. Every time you step forward, even in small ways, you are building your mental muscle. Let me say this again. Action breeds confidence. Action builds your courage. It solidifies your belief in yourself. But the moment you stop acting, the moment you stall out, doubt creeps in. The longer you wait, the more your confidence erodes. The longer you sit in indecision, the more your self-belief crumbles. When you act, you take control. You take the reins of your life. You stop being a passive observer. You become the driver. Think of it this way. Every time you take action, you're sending a powerful message to your brain. You're telling yourself, I am in charge. I am moving forward. I am capable of handling anything. But when you complain, you're sending the exact opposite message. I'm powerless. I'm weak. I'm stuck. Which message do you want to send to yourself? Real-world action. What action can you take today to stop complaining and start conquering? It doesn't matter how big or small the action is. Start where you are. But start now. Identify the area you complain about the most. Your job, your relationships, your health, your finances. Now, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to change this? Take one step today, and I mean today. Even if it's small, it's a step. Maybe you send that email. Maybe you start that workout. Maybe you set up that meeting you've been avoiding. Commit to action, not excuses. The moment you catch yourself complaining, pause and ask, what's one thing I can do to improve this situation right now? Stop talking. Stop explaining. Stop making excuses, and act. Action, not words, is the key. The choice to conquer. So, ask yourself this. Are you ready to stop complaining? Are you ready to take responsibility for your life and your outcomes? Are you ready to stop waiting for someone to hand you permission or a perfect scenario? Are you ready to act, to take charge, and to build the mental toughness you need to overcome anything? The choice is yours. You can keep complaining, or you can start conquering. You can stay stuck, or you can start moving forward. And that's the key. The choice to step forward. So, what's it going to be? Are you going to keep avoiding the fear, letting it control you? Or are you going to step into the discomfort, face your fear, and take your power back? You have a choice. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to decide to act, to move forward, and to keep facing your fear. Every time you do, you become more mentally tough. You become more resilient. And you become unstoppable. Now, let's move forward. You've learned how to face your fear. But there's one thing you must know. Your emotional state is critical to your success. Let's dive in. Chapter 3. Silence your inner critic. How to talk to yourself like a winner. The way you talk to yourself matters more than you think. If you want to build unbreakable mental toughness, you have to start with the voice inside your head. You are your own worst critic. You know this already. You've heard it. You've felt it. That voice, always telling you you're not good enough. You're not ready. You'll never succeed. It's the voice that calls you lazy when you fall short, weak when you stumble, and a failure when you try and fail again. But here's the truth. You have a choice. You get to decide how you talk to yourself. That's the key. You can keep letting that negative, self-defeating voice dictate your actions, or you can change it. You can train your mind to speak to you like a winner. And once you do, everything changes. Self-talk is everything. Mental toughness starts with a voice inside your head. This isn't just some abstract idea. This is fact. The words you say to yourself shape your reality. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, that you're not capable, that you'll never make it, you'll believe it. And when you believe it, your actions follow. Your confidence crumbles. Your resilience breaks down. But when you speak to yourself with confidence, when you tell yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way, when you replace the self-doubt with self-belief, you build resilience. You build confidence. You build mental toughness. Every moment you spend criticizing yourself is a moment you're feeding that inner critic, making it louder and stronger. You are not weak for feeling doubt, but you are weak if you let that doubt define you. The truth is, no one is harder on you than you. And that's why you must get serious about changing your self-talk. Your mind is a battleground. If you don't control it, it will control you. You will never be mentally tough if your own thoughts are working against you. Reprogram your thoughts. You can't build mental toughness without learning to control your thoughts. And the most powerful tool to change your thoughts is repetition. The key is to reprogram your brain to think positively, to replace the negative, limiting beliefs with empowering, positive ones. Positive self-talk isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on what you can do, not on what you can't. Here's what you need to do. Repeat positive affirmations every day. Don't just say them, believe them. Affirmations are like weights for your brain. They are a form of mental exercise. The more you practice them, the stronger your positive mindset becomes. Here's an example. You might repeat to yourself, I am strong. I am capable. I can handle anything life throws my way. It doesn't matter how many setbacks you face. These words are your armor. They become ingrained in your subconscious mind. And when you face challenges, they rise to the surface, reinforcing your belief in your own strength. Let me ask you, how often do you tell yourself you're capable? How often do you remind yourself of your potential? Most people don't do this nearly enough. Instead, they focus on their flaws, their failures, their mistakes. But the truth is, you have to speak to yourself like a winner. You must speak your future into existence. Speak it until you believe it. Speak it until it becomes your reality. Use the example of successful individuals. Many of the world's most successful people swear by the power of self-talk. Think about Oprah Winfrey, a woman who came from nothing and is now one of the most influential figures in the world. Oprah talks openly about how positive affirmations transformed her life. She credits her mindset, the belief in herself and her abilities, for her success. Or look at Muhammad Ali, who constantly told himself, I am the greatest. He didn't just say these words. He believed them with every fiber of his being. And that belief is what propelled him to become one of the greatest boxers to ever live. These people didn't just get lucky. They trained their minds. They didn't just hope for success. They talked themselves into it. And you can do the same. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed. What matters is how you talk to yourself now, and how you train your mind to rise to the occasion. Counter negative thoughts immediately. Now, let's be clear. Negative thoughts aren't going to disappear overnight. They will come. In fact, they'll probably show up more often when you first start working on your self-talk. But here's the key. You don't have to listen to them. The first thought you think is not the truth. It's just a thought, and you have the power to change it. Every time you catch yourself thinking something negative, something limiting, immediately counter it with something positive. You must practice this every single day. Here's how you do it. Step 1. Acknowledge the negative thought. Don't try to pretend it's not there. Recognize it. Step 2. Immediately challenge it. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? What's the opposite of this thought? Step 3. Replace it with something empowering. For example, if your first thought is, I'm not good enough to do this, immediately counter it with, I am capable, and I can handle this challenge. If you catch yourself thinking, I'll never succeed, replace it with, I learn from every failure, and each step brings me closer to success. You need to interrupt the cycle. Every time you let that negative thought run its course, you make it stronger. Every time you stop it and replace it with a positive affirmation, you weaken it. Over time, you'll start to believe the positive thoughts more than the negative ones. You'll rewire your brain for success. What you must do. Here's what you need to do today. Start every day with positive affirmations. Write down 3 empowering statements about yourself. Then repeat them out loud. Every day. Make this a non-negotiable habit. Catch your negative self-talk. Start paying attention to your inner dialogue. The moment you notice negative thoughts, counter them immediately with something positive. Make this a practice until it becomes automatic. You will not be mentally tough if you are constantly reinforcing your weaknesses. Make it your daily discipline. Mental toughness is built one thought at a time, one affirmation at a time, one positive shift at a time. Stop waiting for the day you feel confident enough. Confidence comes from action. It comes from the words you speak to yourself every single day. The choice to speak like a winner. The choice is simple. You can keep allowing your inner critic to control your life, or you can choose to speak to yourself like a winner. You can keep feeding those self-limiting beliefs, or you can start speaking new truths into your life. Every moment, you have the opportunity to choose a different path. You have a choice. The voice inside your head is yours to control. You can train it to support you, to push you, to make you mentally unbreakable. And once you take control of your self-talk, you take control of your life. The power is in your words, in your affirmations, and in your discipline. Chapter 4. Stop proving, start doing. You've been wasting time. It's time to stop seeking validation. Stop waiting for others' approval. Stop trying to prove yourself to people who don't matter. You're not here to gain applause. You're here to make things happen. Every minute you spend trying to impress someone else is a minute you're not using to get results. That's the key. Your success isn't determined by how many people tell you you're doing a good job. It's determined by what you accomplish. And the only way to accomplish anything is by focusing on doing, not on proving. Validation seeking is a silent killer of success. It's a trap, and it's keeping you stuck. If you want mental toughness, you need to stop caring about what others think and start focusing on execution. The silent killer of success, validation seeking. Validation seeking destroys your mental toughness. It's a constant distraction. It pulls you away from what really matters, action. Instead of focusing on the work, you're worrying about how you're being perceived. Instead of focusing on the results you're producing, you're obsessed with getting approval. Let's be clear. You don't need anyone's approval to succeed. Not your boss, not your friends, not your family. The only person whose approval matters is you. If you're waiting for someone else to tell you it's okay to go after your dreams, you're wasting precious time. They don't have to give you permission. You see, the problem with seeking validation is that it pulls you into a cycle of insecurity. It creates a constant need for affirmation. It tells you that your value is dependent on the opinions of others. But your value is not up for negotiation. It's not about needing validation. It's about having the discipline to execute, regardless of what anyone else thinks. This is what separates the winners from the losers. The winners don't care what people say about them. They don't care who's watching. They focus on getting things done, not on being praised. That's the difference. Focus on execution. Talk less, do more. Success is simple, but it's not easy. You don't need to talk about it. You need to do it. This isn't some motivational fluff. This is reality. When you're constantly talking, when you're constantly seeking approval, you're taking energy away from the only thing that matters, action. Let's talk about high achievers. You think Elon Musk spends his time talking about what he's going to do? Absolutely not. He just does it. Every day, he's executing, building, moving forward. He doesn't care if the world thinks he's crazy. He doesn't need anyone to tell him he's making the right choice. He's not trying to prove anything to anyone. He's focused on getting the job done. Oh, look at Jeff Bezos. In the early days of Amazon, there were no applause, no recognition, no one telling him he was going to be successful. He didn't wait for people to believe in him. He executed. He focused on making Amazon the best company it could be, no matter who doubted him. The key to their success: execution. They focused on doing, not talking. They didn't waste time trying to convince others of their brilliance. They showed it through results. It's simple. Talk less, do more. People who are obsessed with approval rarely make any meaningful impact. People who are obsessed with execution make history. Build confidence by doing. Here's the most important truth about confidence. It's not built by getting praise. It's built by getting results. Think about the last time you accomplished something important. Something that took hard work, perseverance, and discipline. How did you feel afterward? Confident, proud, fulfilled. That confidence came from doing. It didn't come from anyone telling you that you did well. It came from the fact that you did it. You finished. You executed. Confidence is a muscle. And just like any muscle, it gets stronger when you use it. The more you focus on getting the job done, the more your confidence will solidify. You see, it's not about waiting to feel confident. It's about doing the work to earn that confidence. The less you care about others' opinions, the more you'll thrive. Why? Because when you stop seeking validation, you free up all that energy that was being wasted on other people's perceptions. You can use that energy to build your success, to do the work that will make you feel proud. Now, let me tell you something that might sting. No one cares as much about you as you think they do. It's true. People are busy. They are focused on their own lives. And the more you focus on what others think of you, the more you will hold yourself back. When you stop needing validation, you take back your power. You stop letting others control your sense of self-worth. What really matters is execution. The more you execute, the more confident you become. The more results you get, the more you realize that you don't need anyone's permission to succeed. You just need the discipline to put in the work. What you must do. Here's what you need to do. Right now. Stop talking about it. The next time you catch yourself talking about your plans, stop. Instead, take action. Don't waste time telling people your vision. Show them your results. This is about moving forward, not seeking approval. Every moment you spend talking is a moment you're not doing. Focus on execution. Create a daily routine that's centered on getting things done. Focus on the task at hand. Whether it's writing the first chapter of your book, building that business, or creating that product, just do it. Don't wait for someone to tell you it's okay. Take the first step, then the next one, then the next. Your results will speak louder than any words ever could. Build your confidence by doing the work. Stop waiting for the perfect moment or for others to recognize your efforts. Get to work. Focus on results, not recognition. You don't need their approval. You need results. The more you produce, the more you execute, the more confidence you will build. The choice to focus on execution. You have a choice. Keep talking about your goals. Keep seeking validation, or choose to do. If you keep seeking approval, you'll stay stuck in that endless loop of trying to prove yourself to others. But if you focus on execution, on results, on taking action without worrying about who's watching, you will succeed. You have a choice. You don't need anyone's permission to take action. What you need is the discipline to stop proving yourself and to start doing. That's the key. Take the first step, then the next, and the next, and soon, you'll be exactly where you want to be, winning, achieving, and building the life you've always dreamed of. Chapter 5. Master your emotions. Don't let them master you. You will face moments of turmoil. It's not a question of if, but when. And in those moments, you will have a choice. Let your emotions control you, or take control of them. Mental toughness isn't about ignoring your emotions. It's about mastering them. You make the decision. You stay in control. Emotional control is the foundation of mental toughness. If you let your emotions dictate your actions, you will forever be a slave to them. But if you learn to control your emotions, they will become powerful tools in your arsenal. That's the key. Emotional control is the key. Make decisions despite emotional turmoil. Life will throw curveballs. You will feel overwhelmed, angry, anxious, or even defeated. It happens to everyone. The question is, what will you do when it happens? Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It means choosing how you respond, no matter how you feel. You don't need to act on every emotion that comes up. That's the difference. You can choose to feel the emotion, acknowledge it, and then decide how you'll move forward. You think high-level performers like athletes or CEOs don't feel pressure. Of course, they do. But they don't let it dictate their actions. They've trained themselves to pause, breathe, and then choose their response. They've built the discipline to stay focused, regardless of their emotional state. Take Michael Jordan, for example. Jordan didn't win 6 NBA championships because he let his emotions control him. In the heat of the game, when the pressure was unbearable, he didn't panic. He didn't let fear or anger cloud his judgment. He remained calm, focused, and in control. This is the difference between success and failure, how you respond when emotions run high. You don't need to react to every emotion. You don't need to let emotions rule your life. You control your emotions. Your emotions don't control you. Pause, breathe, think. High-stakes control in action. Let's break it down. Pause, breathe, think. That's your formula for emotional control. In high-pressure situations, emotions can overwhelm you. Your heart races. Your mind spirals. You want to lash out. You want to make a rash decision. But that's when you need to pause the most. Pause. This is where mental toughness begins. Don't react immediately. Don't give in to the knee-jerk response. Instead, take a breath. Inhale, exhale. Feel the tension in your body, but do not let it make you act in a way that will destroy your focus. Breathe. Breathing gives you the space to reset. It resets your nervous system. It clears your mind. When you're anxious, your brain goes into fight or flight mode. Your emotional reactions become exaggerated. But with one deep breath, you bring yourself back into the present moment. You gain control over your body, your mind, and your decisions. And then, after the breath, you think, what's the best decision? What will get you closer to your goals? What will move you forward, not drag you back? That's the key, using your emotions to fuel, not derail, your actions. Here's the truth. If you're always acting based on how you feel in the moment, you're not acting strategically. You're reacting. And reacting is not the same as responding with intention. Think of Serena Williams during a tense match. At the highest level of competition, there's no room for emotional outbursts. If she allowed herself to react to every mistake or external distraction, she wouldn't have won 23 Grand Slam singles titles. She's able to manage the intensity, block out the noise, and keep her emotions in check. She stays focused. She breathes. She chooses her next move with clarity and intention. That's emotional control. It's not about denying your feelings. It's about putting them in their proper place so you can stay on track. Emotions are signals, not rulers. Use emotions as tools for focus. Let's go even deeper. Emotions are not the enemy. They are signals, indicators that something is happening inside or outside of you. Anger might signal frustration. Fear might signal risk. Sadness might signal loss. These are important signals, but they are not the rulers of your life. It's not about avoiding emotions. It's about understanding them. When you feel anger bubbling up, ask yourself, why am I angry? What is it telling me? What action needs to be taken? When you feel fear, ask yourself, why am I afraid? Is this fear legitimate? Is it protecting me? Or is it holding me back? When you feel anxious, ask yourself, what am I anxious about? How can I address the root cause, not just the feeling? Emotions give you information. They are not meant to control you. They are meant to guide you. That's the difference. You can use fear as a tool to stay sharp, to keep your focus, to move forward. Fear can make you sharper, not weaker. if you let it. You can use anger to drive you to work harder, to fuel your discipline, not let it become a destructive force. You can use frustration to learn, to evolve, to grow stronger. But it all starts with not letting emotions take over. When you feel an emotion rising up, don't react immediately. Don't let it rule your next move. Pause, breathe, think. Choose your response based on clarity, not on emotional impulse. What you must do: pause, breathe, think. Every time you feel an emotional surge, stop. Don't react. Take a deep breath and create space between stimulus and reaction. That moment of pause is where your power lies. This is where you regain control. Use your emotions as signals. Next time you're angry, scared, or anxious, don't let those emotions dictate your actions. Instead, ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Use it to focus, to refine your next step, to propel yourself forward. Emotions are tools for focus. Make decisions despite emotional turmoil. The true test of mental toughness is not whether you feel emotional. It's whether you choose to act with discipline despite those emotions. You have a choice. Let emotions control you, or use them to fuel your actions. The choice to master your emotions. You have a choice. You can either let your emotions control you or you can take control of them. The more you practice emotional discipline, the stronger your mental toughness becomes. When you master your emotions, you free yourself from the chains of fear, anger, and doubt. You turn them into fuel for your success. You don't need to let emotions rule your life. You don't need to be at the mercy of your feelings. You have the power to decide how to respond, no matter what you're feeling. So, what's it going to be? Will you let your emotions dictate your actions? Or will you take control and use them as tools to fuel your success? Chapter 6. The Strength of Consistency Over Intensity. Success isn't built on fleeting bursts of energy. It's not about those big, explosive moments when you feel like you're at the top of the world. Success is built on consistency. You don't need to be intense every day, but you do need to show up. Consistency is the quiet force that compounds over time, turning small actions into monumental outcomes. You have a choice. You can ride the highs of intensity, burning out in the process, or you can build your success one steady, consistent action at a time. That's the key. The daily grind wins the long race. It's about showing up. It's about doing the work, no matter how you feel. Consistency is king. The difference between winners and losers. Take a good look at the people you admire. The ones who stand out. The ones who have built empires, achieved greatness, or consistently crushed their goals. What do they all have in common? They didn't get there through sporadic bursts of effort. They got there through consistency. Think about it. You don't need to be exceptional every day. You don't need to hit it out of the park every time. You need to show up. You need to put in the work every day. Mental toughness is forged through the repetition of action, day after day. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail isn't intensity. It's consistency. The people who quit are the ones who can't handle the grind. The people who succeed are the ones who show up, day after day, no matter what. That's the key. Consider the story of Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world. His secret? Consistency. He didn't make his billions by gambling on big, risky investments. No, he built wealth through consistently making small, smart decisions, year after year. It's the same for anyone who's achieved real, sustainable success. They didn't take shortcuts. They didn't rely on a few lucky breaks. They stayed consistent, stayed disciplined, and showed up every day. That's the key. Success isn't about explosive, short-lived effort. It's about doing the right things consistently, over the long term. Small, everyday wins. Monumental success through consistency. It's easy to look at someone at the top and think they had some kind of shortcut, that they were just lucky, or that they did something extraordinary to get there. But let me ask you, what does success look like on a daily basis? It's not a single breakthrough moment. It's a million small, seemingly insignificant actions that add up over time. Here's the truth. You can't have a great career, a great body, a great life, without small, consistent actions. You're not going to wake up one day and just magically be successful. It's the small wins, repeated every single day, that build the foundation for success. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, talks about the power of tiny habits. The simple act of showing up every day, even for just 10 minutes, compounds into something massive over time. The key is making it a habit. These small actions build up and, before you know it, you've created something big, something monumental. That's consistency at work. Let's say you want to get in shape. You don't need to spend hours in the gym every day, killing yourself with intensity. What you need is a consistent routine. If you can work out for just 20 minutes a day, every day, you'll be in better shape than most people who only work out sporadically, even if they push themselves harder when they do show up. The consistency of that small effort, repeated over time, compounds. Same goes for your career. You don't need to land a huge deal or write a best-selling book tomorrow. You need to show up every day. Write, improve, network, read, learn. Do something every day that gets you closer to your goal. Those small actions stack up over time and bring you closer to success than any one-time intense effort ever could. Building mental toughness requires showing up every day. You know what separates those who achieve greatness from those who settle for mediocrity. It's not natural talent. It's not even intelligence. It's mental toughness, the ability to keep showing up, even when it gets hard. Mental toughness isn't built in a day. It's built by showing up every single day, no matter how you feel. That's the difference between those who keep moving forward and those who quit. It's easy to be motivated when things are going well. It's easy to push hard when everything feels like it's falling into place. But what about when it gets tough? That's when consistency matters most. When you feel exhausted. When you feel like you've hit a wall. When you want to give up. That's when you must show up. Mental toughness is forged in these moments. It's about deciding to act even when you don't feel like it. You're not always going to feel like grinding it out. There will be days when you feel drained, uninspired, or like the work just isn't worth it. But here's the truth. You don't need to feel motivated. You need to be consistent. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline and consistency are what make the difference. You've got to build the habit of showing up, even when it doesn't feel easy. That's how you become mentally tough. That's how you achieve success, one day at a time. What you must do: show up every day. No matter how you feel, show up. The best thing you can do for yourself is commit to showing up, even on the days when motivation is nowhere to be found. Consistency will take you further than intensity ever will. You have a choice. You can let the bad days stop you, or you can use them to build the habit of showing up. Focus on small wins. Small wins matter more than you think. Don't look for a massive change overnight. Focus on what you can do today, whether it's making one more sales call, reading one more page, or doing one more set of representatives. Those small actions stack up over time. That's the key to monumental success. Build the habit. Success comes from doing the same things every day. Whether it's writing, working out, studying, or networking, you must turn your goals into daily habits. Mental toughness isn't built overnight. It's built by showing up every day. Discipline beats motivation. Show up consistently, and you'll see the results. The power of consistency. Here's the bottom line. Success isn't about doing everything at once. It's about showing up. It's about doing the work day after day. Success isn't built in a day. It's built by showing up every day, no matter how you feel. You don't need intensity. You need consistency. Small actions, repeated over time, will bring you the results you desire. Mental toughness isn't about being intense every day. It's about staying consistent, even when the going gets tough. Chapter 7. Own your failures. They are your greatest teacher. Failure is not your enemy. It never has been. But here's the truth. You're not going to grow without it. If you're scared of failing, you'll never experience the transformation that comes from it. You have a choice. You can run from failure, or you can face it, learn from it, and become stronger because of it. That's the key to mental toughness. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by avoiding failure. They got there by embracing it, learning from it, and using it as fuel to propel them forward. Failure is your best teacher. It's the thing that sharpens your mental edge, builds resilience, and turns you into someone who can handle anything life throws your way. You've been taught to fear failure. Society says, don't fail. Do everything you can to avoid it. But that's a lie. The truth is, failure is necessary for growth. Mental toughness doesn't come from success. It comes from how you respond to failure. Failure is not the enemy. You can't be mentally tough without it. If you're still scared of failing, it's time to wake up. Failure is not the enemy. In fact, failure is your greatest ally in building mental toughness. Every successful person has faced failure. The difference is, they didn't let it break them. They let it make them stronger. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about mastering it. Look at Michael Jordan. He's regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But he didn't get there by avoiding failure. In fact, Jordan famously said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times, I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed." Yet, despite failing time and time again, he used those failures to fuel his greatness. Jordan didn't let failure define him. He let it refine him. That's the key. Failure doesn't define who you are. How you respond to it does. You have a choice. You can either run from failure, or you can own it, learn from it, and use it as a tool to build your mental toughness. That's the key. Failure breeds resilience. Famous failures who turn their mistakes into success. It's not just Michael Jordan. The most successful people in the world have failed repeatedly before achieving their dreams. Failure breeds resilience. Failure sharpens your edge. Every time you fall, you get a little bit better at getting back up. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before he invented the light bulb. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination and was fired from a newspaper job. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television early in her career. But they didn't quit. They kept going. They didn't let failure define them. They used it as fuel to push harder, to work smarter, and to never give up. Failure builds resilience. It forces you to adapt, to innovate, to fight for what you want. If you can't handle failure, you'll never build the mental toughness required to win. That's the key. You must learn to fail forward. Fail quickly. Fail often. But don't fail the same way twice. You don't need to fear failure. You need to embrace it. In fact, every failure is a lesson. The more you fail, the more you learn. The more you learn, the stronger you become. Failure isn't falling down. It's staying down. Stop fearing failure. Failure isn't falling down. It's staying down. You're not going to succeed at everything. You're not going to get everything right the first time. And that's okay. Failure is a part of the process. The key isn't avoiding it. The key is bouncing back from it stronger than ever. Think about it. Failure isn't falling down. Failure is staying down. It's choosing to quit when things get tough. It's letting fear or self-doubt control your actions. That's the real failure. Every time you fail, you have a choice. You can let it crush you, or you can use it to fuel your growth. That's the key. The most successful people in the world know this. They know that failure is just a stepping stone. They know that it's not about being perfect. It's about getting better every day. The real failure is not trying again. And you don't need anyone's permission to try again. You don't need approval from anyone. You don't need validation. You just need to keep moving forward. Every time you fail, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Then take that lesson and use it to come back stronger. This is what builds mental toughness. Not avoiding failure, not running from it, but embracing it, learning from it, and getting better because of it. What you must do: Stop avoiding failure. You can't build mental toughness if you're afraid of failure. Stop running from it. Failure is not your enemy. You have to face it, embrace it, and learn from it. That's the key. Use failure as a learning tool. Every time you fail, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Every failure is an opportunity to get better, to improve, to grow. Failure breeds resilience. If you stop fearing it, you'll become unstoppable. Get back up faster. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how quickly you get back up. The faster you get up, the stronger you get. Don't stay down. Learn, adapt, and get back in the game. Failure is not staying down. The power of owning your failures. Here's the truth. You're going to fail. Over and over again. And that's okay. Mental toughness isn't about being perfect. It's about facing failure, learning from it, and coming back stronger every single time. The more you fail, the better you get. Failure sharpens you. It tests your resilience, your discipline, and your character. You have a choice. You can let failure break you, or you can let it build you. You can make failure your greatest ally in your journey to success. You're ready. Failure is not the end. It's the beginning. Now that you've learned how to own your failures, it's time to talk about the power of control, how to master your environment and rise to the challenge no matter what. Let's dive in. Chapter 8. Your identity is your power. Change it to change your life. Your identity is your power. Who you think you are defines what you'll become. If you see yourself as weak, you'll act weak. If you see yourself as a victim, you'll stay a victim. But if you choose to see yourself as strong, as someone who overcomes, as a victor, you will become that. You have a choice. You can choose to redefine yourself at any moment. And that choice is what will change everything. Mental toughness doesn't come from being born strong. It doesn't come from talent, luck, or circumstance. It comes from what you believe about yourself. The identity you carry determines the actions you take and the results you get. Your mind follows your identity. If you believe you are mentally tough, then your actions will reflect that. If you believe you are incapable, then your actions will reflect that as well. The most powerful transformation you can make is to change how you view yourself. You are what you repeatedly think you are. Your self-image is the foundation of your life. You cannot build lasting success or develop mental toughness without first changing your identity. That's the key. Who you think you are defines what you'll become. Think about this. Every single action you take is driven by the belief you have about yourself. If you believe you're not good enough, that belief will guide your decisions. You'll take fewer risks. You'll play it safe. You won't push yourself to do the hard things. You'll avoid the discomfort that is required for growth. But what if you believed you were capable of anything? What if you believed you could handle any challenge that came your way? How would you act differently? What would you do? When you change your self-image, everything else changes with it. You have the power to transform your life by transforming your identity. This isn't just some abstract concept. This is real. The way you identify yourself shapes the actions you take, which shapes your results. That's the key. Start seeing yourself as someone who succeeds, someone who never gives up, someone who is mentally tough. You don't need anyone's permission to make that change. You just need to believe it, and then act on it. Reprogram your beliefs. Examples of successful transformations. Let me give you some concrete examples. Take Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Jobs didn't start off with the world's most favorable circumstances. He was adopted. He dropped out of college. He was fired from his own company. But what did Jobs do? He never saw himself as a failure. He never saw himself as someone who was defeated. He saw himself as a visionary. He saw himself as someone who would change the world. And despite the setbacks, he did. He redefined who he was at every step, which allowed him to redefine what was possible. Or look at Nelson Mandela. Mandela spent 27 years in prison, but he never saw himself as a victim. He never let his circumstances define him. He saw himself as a leader. He believed that he could bring change to South Africa. Even when the world saw him as a prisoner, he saw himself as a freedom fighter, and his unwavering belief in who he was changed the course of history. The lesson: you don't need to accept the identity that others give you. You have the power to choose who you are, no matter your circumstances. Mental toughness starts with a shift in identity. When you believe in your own strength, you act with strength. When you see yourself as capable, you take actions that lead to success. Your mind follows your identity. You become what you repeatedly think you are. Now, here's the most important point you need to understand. Your mind follows your identity. You become what you repeatedly think you are. Let me ask you, what do you think about yourself on a daily basis? Do you tell yourself that you're not strong enough? Do you tell yourself that you're not disciplined enough? Do you tell yourself that you don't have what it takes? Or do you tell yourself that you are mentally tough, that you are strong, that you can handle anything that comes your way? Your beliefs will guide your actions. Your thoughts will shape your reality. If you identify as someone who succeeds under pressure, your actions will align with that identity. You'll make decisions, take risks, and act with confidence. But if you see yourself as someone who's weak, someone who gives up too soon, or someone who isn't tough enough to handle challenges, that's how you'll act. You'll avoid difficult situations. You'll shy away from the hard work. You'll shrink in the face of adversity, and your results will reflect that. That's the key. If you want to change your results, change your identity. Start seeing yourself as someone who can handle pressure. Start seeing yourself as someone who thrives in discomfort. The more you reinforce this new identity, the more your mind will align with it, and the more your actions will reflect it. What you must do: define your identity, decide who you are. Choose to be someone who is mentally tough, someone who faces challenges head-on, someone who keeps going even when it gets hard. You have the power to change how you see yourself. Reprogram your thoughts. Every time a negative thought about yourself pops up, counter it with something positive. Tell yourself, I am strong. I am capable. I'm mentally tough. That's the key. You become what you repeatedly think you are. Act as if. Don't wait for the world to tell you you're mentally tough. Act as if you already are. Walk into every situation with the confidence that you can handle it. Fake it until you make it. Eventually, you'll make it, because your actions will create your results. The power of changing your identity. Here's the truth. Your identity is everything. If you want to change your life, start by changing how you see yourself. See yourself as strong. See yourself as a victor, not a victim. See yourself as capable of handling anything that comes your way. Once you make that change, your actions will follow. Your results will follow. And most importantly, your mental toughness will follow. That's the key. You have the power to choose who you are. So, choose wisely. Choose to be someone who is relentless, someone who keeps going, someone who never quits. Now that you've learned how to harness the power of your identity, let's move forward. Let's dive in. Chapter 9. The Silent Cost of Seeking Validation. Validation is a trap. Stop seeking approval. It's killing your mental toughness. Every time you look outside yourself for validation, you weaken your foundation. You make your self-worth dependent on what others think. And that's dangerous. You don't need anyone's permission to be who you are or to take the actions you need to take. You have a choice. You can either remain a prisoner to the opinions of others, or you can break free by choosing to validate yourself. Self-validation is the key to freedom. When you stop seeking external approval, when you stop looking for permission to be great, you unlock the power to act with confidence. That's the key. Confidence doesn't come from what others say about you. It comes from within. It comes from the certainty that you are on the right path, regardless of whether anyone else sees it or not. It's not about approval. It's about discipline. Validation is a trap. Stop seeking it. Let me be clear. Seeking validation is a trap. It's an endless loop of self-doubt and insecurity. You constantly seek external cues to determine your worth. And when you don't get the validation you're after, you feel worse about yourself. That's not mental toughness. That's weakness. When you depend on others' opinions to fuel your confidence, you give away your power. You have no control over what others think. No matter how much you try, you can never fully control how others see you. But you can control how you see yourself. You can choose to validate your own worth. The constant need for validation is draining. It weakens you. It distracts you. It keeps you from doing the work that matters. You have a choice. You can stop relying on others for validation and start building your own foundation of self-worth. That's the key. Mental toughness comes from within. It comes from knowing that your worth is not determined by anyone else's opinion. It comes from trusting your own judgment, your own decisions, and your own actions. Self-validation is freedom. Validate yourself. Self-validation is the ultimate form of freedom. When you stop seeking validation from others, you become free to act with confidence. You become free to make decisions without worrying about what people will think. You become free to pursue your goals without fear of judgment. You gain the freedom to be unapologetically you. How do you start validating yourself? It starts with one simple truth. You don't need anyone else's permission to be great. You don't need to wait for someone to tell you that you're good enough. You are good enough, right now. When you start validating yourself, your confidence skyrockets. You stop second-guessing every decision. You stop waiting for approval. You start trusting your own instincts, your own abilities, and your own worth. You stop measuring your success by the opinions of others. You measure it by your own standards. That's the key. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback. It doesn't mean you close yourself off from constructive criticism. What it means is that you no longer let other people's opinions dictate how you feel about yourself. Your worth is not up for negotiation. You validate yourself by acknowledging your strengths, your progress, and your achievements. You build your confidence by trusting your own judgment, not waiting for someone else's stamp of approval. Repetition of key concept. The moment you stop seeking validation, you gain the freedom to act with confidence. Here's the truth. The moment you stop seeking validation, you gain the freedom to act with confidence. That's the key. You no longer wait for anyone else to approve of your choices, your actions, or your success. You own your path. Let's break this down. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who seek approval. They are the ones who make decisions based on what they believe is right, regardless of outside opinion. They trust their judgment. They trust their ability to make the right moves. And they trust that their worth is not up for debate. You have a choice. You can continue to look to others for validation, or you can take the power back. You can stop letting others dictate your worth and start validating yourself. This is mental toughness. It's about trusting your own decisions. It's about acting with confidence, knowing that your path is your own, and no one else's opinion matters. What you must do: stop seeking validation. The next time you find yourself looking for approval, stop. Recognize the trap. Validate your own choices, your own actions, and your own progress. That's the key. Stop relying on others to make you feel good about yourself. You're enough right now. Build your own self-worth. Take the time to acknowledge your own progress. Celebrate your wins, big or small. You don't need anyone else to tell you you're doing well. Validate yourself by recognizing your efforts, your growth, and your discipline. The more you validate yourself, the stronger your confidence will become. Act with confidence. Once you stop seeking validation, you gain the freedom to act with confidence. You make decisions without hesitation, and you take action without waiting for approval. You trust yourself, and that trust is the foundation of mental toughness. The power of self-validation. Here's the bottom line. Validation from others is temporary. It's fleeting. It's unreliable. But self-validation is permanent. It comes from within. It builds your mental toughness. It frees you from the chains of self-doubt and insecurity. That's the key. When you validate yourself, you create a foundation that no one can shake. Your confidence comes from within, not from the opinions of others. You become unstoppable. You become the kind of person who trusts their judgment, who takes action without hesitation, and who refuses to let anyone's opinion stand in the way of their success. You have a choice. You can keep seeking validation, or you can start validating yourself. Choose freedom. Choose confidence. Choose mental toughness. And now that you've unlocked the power of self-validation, let's move forward. Let's dive in. Chapter 10. The Unseen Power of Quiet Discipline. Discipline is the backbone of toughness. True mental toughness isn't about having a big moment. It's about doing the work, day in and day out, regardless of who's watching. The tough ones are the ones who show up consistently. No fanfare, no applause, no recognition. They just do the work. And they do it because they know that's where the real strength is built. That's the key. There's a power in quiet, invisible discipline. It's the silent work that makes the loudest impact. You won't always see results immediately, but if you keep showing up, the results will come. No one has to know about the hours you put in. No one has to see the struggles, but your consistency will show. Discipline is the backbone of toughness. When you think about mental toughness, you might picture someone who can endure extreme physical pain, or someone who can push through massive obstacles. But mental toughness is built in the quiet moments, the small, consistent actions that no one else sees. Mental toughness is about discipline. It's about doing what needs to be done even when no one is looking, even when there's no immediate reward. It's about building habits, routines, and mindsets that carry you forward when motivation fades. You have a choice. You can chase motivation, hoping it shows up when you need it, or you can choose discipline. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. But discipline lasts forever. It's what gets you up every morning, even when you don't feel like it. It's what keeps you moving forward when the road gets tough. Quiet, invisible work, the real secret to success. The real magic happens in the quiet moments, the ones no one notices. It's the hours spent working on your craft when no one's watching. It's the discipline to show up and keep doing the hard work, even when you're not seeing immediate results. Think about the greatest achievers, the ones who've really made an impact. Most of them didn't get where they are by seeking applause. They thrived because they stayed on their path, quietly putting in the work. They didn't need recognition. They needed consistency. Take someone like Kobe Bryant. Before the championships, before the fame, he was in the gym. Every day. Most people don't see those early mornings, the extra shots, the sweat, the failures. They see the glory of the game-winning shots. But they don't see the 10,000 hours of quiet work that led up to those moments. That's the invisible work. That's the power of quiet discipline. Discipline isn't flashy. It's not about showing off. It's about the small actions that you repeat day after day. And the more you do it, the more you realize that's where the real power is. Discipline is greater than motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline lasts forever. That's the mantra you need to adopt if you're serious about building mental toughness. Motivation is a fleeting feeling. One day, you'll feel unstoppable. The next, you might struggle to get out of bed. But discipline is what gets you up when you don't feel like it. It's what makes you stay focused even when your energy is low. That's the key. Discipline is what separates the winners from the quitters. Motivation will only take you so far. But if you're disciplined, you'll keep showing up, even when you'd rather quit. You'll keep doing the work, even when it feels like no one notices. You need to build the habit of doing the work, whether or not you feel like it. That's where the magic lies. The more consistent you are, the more mental toughness you build. You don't need to wait for motivation to strike. You have the power to create discipline. How to cultivate quiet discipline in your life. Here's what you need to do. Build daily habits. Start by creating small, repeatable actions that you can do every day. It's not about doing one big thing. It's about doing consistent, small things over time. Start with the basics. Get up early. Make your bed. Exercise every day. Read. Study. Work on your goals. These things don't have to be big. They just need to be done consistently. Focus on the process, not the results. The results will come, but they don't come immediately. If you're focused on the short-term payoff, you'll burn out. Focus on the process. Focus on showing up every day, doing the work, even when you don't see immediate results. Embrace the quiet moments. Learn to embrace the silent, invisible work. It's in those moments that you build real strength. No one else needs to know what you're doing. You don't need applause. You just need to keep going, day after day. Stay committed to your vision. Your vision is the fuel that drives your discipline. Without a clear vision of where you're going, it's easy to lose focus. But when you know your purpose and what you're working toward, you'll keep showing up even when it's tough. The power of consistency. Consistency builds mental toughness. It's easy to start strong, to have a burst of motivation and energy at the beginning of a new project. But the true test of mental toughness is how you handle the day in and day out grind. Consistency is the quiet force that drives success. It's what makes you reliable. It's what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. The more consistent you are, the more you prove to yourself that you can stick to your goals, regardless of distractions or challenges. No one sees the late nights. No one sees the sacrifice. But the results speak for themselves. The transformation you must make. You're building mental toughness not by chasing motivation, but by building the habit of discipline. You're creating a mindset that says, I don't need approval. I don't need applause. I just need to keep going. Discipline is the unspoken strength that will carry you through when things get hard. When everyone else gives up, you'll still be there. When everyone else seeks validation, you'll be quietly working toward your goal. That's where mental toughness is built. You have a choice. You can chase motivation, or you can build discipline. Motivation will fade. Discipline will last. Transition to the next chapter. You've learned how to build quiet discipline. Now, let's talk about how to keep your mind focused, no matter how many distractions life throws at you. Chapter 11. The Power of Focus. How to eliminate distractions and stay on track. Let's dive in. Now, let me challenge you. The difference between success and failure is not talent. It's mental toughness. The ability to stay calm, face your fears, silence your critics, and take action even when the world tells you to stop. You don't need external motivation or applause to build unshakable confidence. It starts with you, right here, right now. Do the work. Own your thoughts. Embrace the discomfort. If you don't start building mental toughness today, you'll be the same tomorrow. But if you take action now, you will transform your life. The question is, are you ready to make that choice? Start today and build the confidence you deserve. It's time to stop thinking and start doing. Let's go.